Welcome to the Living Field with David and Lily. Lily is my dog, and she might come in and say hello. I am in my pop-up studio because of the wind today. We're out here in the Sonora Desert outside of Tucson. It's very beautiful here. I've been wanting to make this video for some time. We live in a conscious quantum body, a bioelectrical magnetic field with the most advanced natural technology on the planet. We are this technology. It is natural. Yeah? It is elemental. And we only have scratched the surface of who we are and what we are about to become. We are in a global shift and a frequency shift. And yes, we are going through a chaotic node right now, and it looks like we are doomed. We are not. Okay? So AI is part of us coming into our conscious quantum body. Everything out there is happening for a reason right now, and it is exponential. And our awakening will be exponential too. It's going to happen really fast. It's already happening to every single one of us in some way, and it depends on how we are reacting and responding to that vibrational shift. And so one of the aspects of coming into a higher vibratory field is it creates coherence with the heart. So we end up creating this heart-mind coherence. And when that begins to happen, we live in a field, an electromagnetic field. When we come into coherence, the mind starts to recreate itself, regenerate itself. One of the reasons that happens is we come out of a stagnant field. Because after a while, you know, as you're learning, as you get older, this is what I've noticed. I've talked to a lot of different people. We start to, okay, this is what I know, right? You could be just in the same job for 30 years and, you know, you have a routine and this is what you do. And you've watched the news and you're a Republican or a Democrat and this is the ideology that you have held in your body, and that becomes a belief, and that becomes a vibration, and it becomes stagnant, and it doesn't grow, and it doesn't expand, and it doesn't flourish. But when we come into heart-mind coherence, everything changes, yeah? Because everything that we have witnessed, everything that we have believed, everything that the mind has solidified as reoccurring patterns in the neurological field begins to shift. We have the potential to access all information in the collective and in the quantum field. It's that vast. There is so much information around everything. And we can start learning in new ways. Even I'm 58 years old, and all this information is coming through me now. So the more energy that is flowing through our body, it begins to change the frequency of the body. We have been taught that we are separate from the living field. And just that belief alone slows the flow of energy in the body and slows our evolutionary timelines. We become the witness to the fear and the anger and the pain and the trauma. When we can authentically witness it in neutrality, we begin to resolve these patterns of separation. And when we begin to resolve the patterns of separation, the energy in our body starts to increase. And when the energy in our body starts to increase, the vibration in our body starts to raise, because we become closer to our true nature. And when the frequency and the vibration begin to rise up, that means the geometry on our body begins to change too. And what happens is the heart is activated, and it's such a powerful magnetic field. It begins to entrain the mind. Yeah, it begins to regenerate the neuroplasticity of the mind. And all of this also starts to change the genetic coding in the body. Yeah? And this is how we begin to wake up. Now, what begins to happen now is that everything that we see, and we get angry because we're like, what the hell? Everything is a lie. It's so crazy, right? And then, when we see that everything that we are witnessing is a lie, we begin to blame other people for lying to us, and that begins to lower the vibration again. So this is how it's incremental, right? It doesn't happen all at once. You don't create a whole new belief system in a moment. At least I haven't been able to do that. Maybe some people can. Yeah? So as the body begins to have more energy flow, that's all it is. We're creating more of an energy flow when we come into presence or neutrality, when we become the witness of these old patterns emerging and wanting to be resolved, because they can't be sustained vibrationally in a higher love vibration. Okay, so when the body starts to hold a higher vibration, those patterns of separation, those limiting beliefs are no longer sustainable in that vibration. They need to be fed with fear. And we can see that the external is trying to feed as much fear into our bodies to keep us from waking up, but it will not work. We are waking up regardless. And I would say it's both. The more fear that is put into the collective, the more fear that we are exposed to, the quicker that the old paradigm is imploding. So it's all part of the process. Yeah. And it's really cool, you guys. Just, stay with me here, because this is a really important. The reason I'm telling you all this, and the reason it's coming through me, is that your abundance, your happiness, and your joy is extremely important for me. The more of us who begin to shift into this frequency, the more exponential it will become for everyone, and the easier it will be for you. It's been extremely challenging for me, and also very exciting and amazing. The biggest challenge that I have is believing it's true. Even though I know it's true. Like, believing it's true is especially when everyone around you, I call it whataboutism. When I talk about, like, the human species being love-based, most people think I'm nuts. Think I'm crazy. And they can defend fear. They'll defend the old paradigm within themselves for a very long time. And they have a lot of examples too. I don't have very many examples of the human race being kind and compassionate and loving like I do for, I have a lot of examples of why it's, not all of those things, right? I mean, it's hard to look at history and be like, yeah, no, we're these conscious quantum beings who can access all information for our purpose and create a loving reality that we live in for everyone and for ourselves, and we are abundant all the time, and we are safe. No, doesn't matter where we are safe. Nobody's going to want to hear that. This is what I have learned. Nobody wants to hear that. If you're in a vibration that's based out of fear and separation, you can't hear what I'm talking about. Like if you've made it this long in this video, then you can hear what I'm saying. We are living in a very interesting time. That much is for sure. Like we are living in a time of rapid vibrational changes. And some of us can hear. I find that most people in the collective, and I'm not judging anyone, this is just a observation, are living in a repetitive fear-based loop. That mostly what they're talking about in a daily conversation is what is wrong with the planet, what we can't do, right? Limited beliefs. Like, it's really like this insulation vibration of, it's like insulating us from expansion and compassion and love and light. It's like it insulated us to believe that like nature is unsafe and that we are unsafe. It's really a trip. When we come into heart coherence and we can enter into presence, a deeper presence than we've ever felt, and at the same time be active in living in the field, meaning that we could be in our job or driving or having dinner or whatever it is, we could still be present and hold that vibration and still be active in our daily lives, even living in a separation paradigm at the same time. This is a skill, and it takes practice, and I've been practicing it, and I fail often. I mean, I'll be honest with you. Sometimes I go right back to being David Kuhn from Syracuse, New York, a traumatized kid living in the hood, and then sometimes I can hold the light for everyone. When we can hold that higher frequency, that 5D frequency, and we can still live in the 3D separation paradigm at the same time, that's when we can embody both paradigms at once. We can see through the veil of illusion, and we can hold a vibration in the body, and we can sustain it for longer periods of time. The longer that we hold that vibration within the reality that we live in, because look, it's we live in a separation paradigm right now. It's shifting, but we are still in a very chaotic node, and it's a very, very much a lower frequency than the paradigm that is rising. When we can hold those and merge those, we can really begin to resolve the patterns within us. We can really begin to change our cellular structure because there's more energy flowing through the body. This is the key for all of this. We start to eat less food because there's more energy, because it takes a lot of energy to digest food. And we don't need the food because there's more energy flowing through the body. This becomes true embodiment. When we can live in a field that is chaotic and also hold our true nature of love and light, and hold that new frequency, that new mathematical equation in our body, and begin to activate our DNA and shift our genetic coding. And science has proven through epigenetics that the genetic coding is really just a reflection or mirror of the vibration in which we live. So if we hold that vibrational container in our field, then we start to shift the genetic coding, and that means we start to shift the ancestral lineage that we were born into. And we do it for our family too, because our ancestral lineage is connected through the field. Yeah. So we are connected to our family regardless of if we are hanging out with them or not. And so all of this starts to build on itself, starts to become exponential, right? Like we start eating differently. Like we don't even need to, like a push to do it. We just start doing it. We start loving differently. We start having better relationships because we begin to listen. Yeah? And we begin to listen to the field. You know, it's not just me anymore. It's everyone. It's the field. It's the plants. It's the trees. It's all of us humans. You know, we are a human family. And I begin to realize that that I alone cannot change the vibration of the collective, and my frequency is important to the shift in this paradigm shift. Yeah? I mean, eventually, and this is what I've been told, I haven't experienced any of this. Eventually, as I begin to recalibrate, reconfigure, and rebuild a new belief system, resolve patterns of separation from my family lineage and from what I've learned, I begin to unlearn, right? My frequency becomes an antenna for the collective. And so I could walk into a store and just stand next to somebody for a little while, and that could help them shift a little bit, maybe not all at once. This isn't an ego thing for me, and I might trigger them, and that's okay, right? Because I can see them as light. And so as all this energy begins to flow, we become more conscious quantum beings. And what this means is our inner knowing begins to explode. Information starts to come in really clearly. It's not just some random thought, right? It's not some old habitual thought pattern that happens, 60,000 times a day. It's a very clear, resonant thought or a vision or just a knowing, and you can feel it in your heart, and then your mind responds to accept it. Yeah, just doesn't push it away as some kind of like imagination, which we don't even really know what imagination is. It's really just an inner knowing. Children have it, and then over the years they're basically programmed out of imagination in many ways. All right, so when this inner knowing begins to expand and come online, then we start to listen to all of the messages that are coming through. And those messages are, it's not even a message, it's an inner knowing. Yeah, it's like the origin seed of these crystalline thoughts and seeds that want to incubate in our field. And it's through our ability to accept these truths and accept that it may take going into the unknown to propagate these ideas, or just let them expand and grow within us so that we can share them with the world. All of that process itself is very exciting, and it's so joyful, and it's very amazing. It makes life worth living, to be honest, because doing the same thing every day after day gets boring, okay? And that's why we need some distraction to keep us from getting bored all the time. Right? Because we're not learning and growing all the time. We're doing the same thing. We're not machines. We're a living organism that wants to learn and grow. We are not. I'm still coming into the embodiment of what I've written. I'm still studying my own book, and there was a time when I first published it, and people were reading it and not really getting it, and where I was doubting myself, where I was doubting all of this, and when we begin to, and it's okay to be pragmatic and have discernment. I get that. Like, it's important to have discernment, and like, if you have a thought that tells you to jump off a bridge, these are like the whataboutisms, right? Then yeah, obviously that's not your inner knowing. Your inner knowing is not going to tell you to jump off a bridge and kill yourself. That's not something that it would do. And when I say inner knowing, it's like direct access to God. It's direct access to the living field. Direct access to everything that exists. Yeah? Within the parameters of your purpose. Super important to understand. When we have a purpose that is almost like a higher purpose, and that we're like, okay, this is what I'm doing, and I'm doing it for everyone. I'm not just doing it to make a bunch of money or to appease me or to fulfill some, need that I have. It's a purpose that involves everyone, right? And that could be art, that could be teaching, it could be any profession. It's just that we shift into this new frequency of I am in service to the whole, because when I am in the service to the whole, I am in service to myself. That is self-love. That is self-love. When we have a purpose that involves and nourishes everyone on the planet and every being on the planet, that nourishes us, because we are all of those aspects within us. And once we start to embody that purpose, then information comes from all over the field. It could come in a random YouTube video, or in a book that you find in a garage sale, or in a thought, a word. You meet somebody who gives you a piece of the puzzle. You see? It's all connected. Yeah? So instead of like trying to the universe is always trying to bring us back to this purpose, or bring us back to our true nature. So when we find our purpose, the purpose is given to us. When we reach a certain vibration, or whatever it is, I don't really know, I can't really tell you. We are given a purpose, and when we embody that purpose, when we begin the process of embodying that purpose, then the universe, or the living field, I like to call, supports us in that process. And then when we start to believe that this is actually happening, and we start responding to the little pieces of the puzzle, even though they don't make sense, yeah? I didn't know like what entropy meant and why it was being placed in a thought. But then I went and learned about it for a year. It took me a long time to really understand and embody what entropy really meant, as far as the awakening process goes, or climate change, or open systems and closed systems. I mean, it's a trip. Right? And so that's my trust. Entropy, okay, that's an important thing. It keeps coming up. I don't know why. Let me go learn about it. You see, it's not about just like information given to us all the time, although that can happen. It's about us taking action and learning about those, whatever's coming into our field, and also taking a look at like the mirror self, like somebody showing us something that's limiting our potential by their ridiculous behavior. And you're like, fuck that guy. And then you're like, well, wait a minute, that's me. God damn it, that's me over there. Shit. Now I have to be, honest with myself. And yeah, I do that. I do that same thing, and I don't want to do that anymore. I want to be the witness. And I see him as like helping me. So now I'm not mad at him. I'm like, hey, thanks, man. Thanks for that. Thanks for that really shitty behavior you just put on to me. Because I know now that that's part of me, that's within me. I am here to have conversations and to learn. So if you have something that is constructive, or you have a thought, or maybe you're the piece of the puzzle that I'm waiting for. Maybe out of this whole video you got one little piece of the puzzle that you've been needing. Maybe the rest of it you don't need. I don't know. So this is the shift in vibrational frequency that I'm talking about, yeah? It's like we look at the world as a teaching moment every moment. Even if that moment isn't what we believe, or we completely disagree with it, if we are open to that communication, to that information, to why it's in our field, then we can take it as a piece of the puzzle. That's a huge shift. All right, y'all. Many blessings to all of you. I know this is a pretty wild time to be alive, and believe me, I'm in it too. It's one big soup of chaos. But I'm really sure that all of this chaos is creating a pearl. Take care.